Well, good morning, viewers. Today we have a 2006 Nissan Xtrail, and it's here because the money light is on, as well as a bunch of other lights. Let's have a look. Got an exhaust leak. Got a service engine soon light, four-wheel drive light, ABS light. Now, they could all be related to the check engine light being on. But first and foremost, sounds like it's got an exhaust leak. First and foremost, we're going to scan it and see what the controllers have to offer for codes. Okay, so this is a previous vehicle I've worked on. Not recently, but I did some repairs to the fuel gauge years ago. Comes up as an Xterra in the Snap-on software, I believe. Maybe the Xtrail was only sold in Canada. I've got the vehicle running. Should be able to scan it while it's running. I'll put the mileage in after. Let's do a network code scan and see what we have to read. I wouldn't be surprised if it's got a catalyst efficiency code. Some MIL illuminated codes will, catalyst efficiency below limit. Now that could be because of the exhaust leak, purge control, circuit fault. That could be a wiring problem. That's usually a circuit problem. That's an interesting code. Initial start. Well, I think we'll be investigating the exhaust leaks on this thing before we condemn the catalytic converter, because an exhaust leak can fool the catalyst monitor, sometimes in a manner that causes it to trip a code, but sometimes it can fool it in a manner that causes it to pass. These are slow. I'll pick up when we get to the end of this network code scan. Well, that was painfully slow, and I noticed that it didn't scan the 4x4 or the ABS. Oh, let's go into it manually and see. Anti-lock brakes, let's try and scan that. What model? ABS identification. To identify ABS, turn the ignition on and verify the existence of the following in the instrument panel. ABS lamp 1 second, ABLS or TCS slip lamp 1 second, VDC lamp 1 second, HDC HSA HDC lamp 1 second. Interesting. Well, I'll go do that. Well, all I see is an ABS lamp on 1 second. None of these other lights, other than the four-wheel drive light, but it doesn't mention that. ABS with VDC and TCS, ABS with VDC, TCS, HSA, and HDC. EIO. Let's try codes. No communication with the scan tool. Now, is that a network problem, as a wiring problem to the computer, or are we IDing this incorrectly? Let's try the other option just for shits and giggles, in case it makes a difference. No, it doesn't. Let's exit that. Now I see the ABS light coming on, so that would theoretically indicate that the computer is waking up. Well, let's see if there's anything to do with the four-wheel drive. Oh, brother. Engine, transmission, anti-lock brakes, airbag, TPMS, oil set specs, body control, intelligent power distribution module, instrument cluster, and wheel alignment. I'm going to try another scanner. So I'm tying my ThinkTool Pro Plus here. Let's see what it IDs it. It could be that this Xtrail was only sold in Canada, and I've identified it as a Xterra with the Snap-on software, because a lot of times the Snap-on software doesn't recognize the Canadian vehicle fleet or the Canadian vehicle market. See, this is an Xtrail. Let's go diagnosis. I just have the key on. Battery voltage is not present on this scan too. Oh yeah, 12.6. Where's the topology map? Doesn't support it on this vehicle. Okay, there's the VIN, North America, Xtrail. What the heck is intermediate and confirmed? I don't know. North America, Canada. Xtrail. It decoded the VIN now. Why? What's the T30? It's the only one to choose from. 2006. All right, let's try this. Not extremely fast. Where's the next vehicle? Where's the next module it's scanning? Oh, there it is, ABS. Got a communication with it and codes from it. I see a B instrument cluster, I would imagine. I'm going to pick up when we get to the end of this network scan. Well, that was painfully slow. I put a battery charger on it. So it shows codes in the all-wheel drive, the ABS, the TCM, which I imagine is transmission control module, and the ECM. Let's look at the report. .420, 443, purge quantity control valve. I thought that was a vent solenoid valve, 443. ABS, front left-hand sensor 1. So it has a problem with the speed sensor. Transmission, initial start, whatever that means. And all-wheel drive mode is probably the speed sensor, ABS system fault. Oh, Snap-on for the fail again. So let's save this. Post repair. I've saved it as the wrong report, but it doesn't matter. Let's go into the, we're going to lift it up and have a look at it underneath now. So having a visual look underneath the vehicle, the speed sensors look intact. So I'm graphing them now. I'm going to see if there's a signal from them. Let's graph them. Front left hand is the one that's setting a code. So I'm going to go turn the wheel. Both front wheels should be turning now. So as you can see, we had the right front, but no left front. I'm going to spin the rear now. Is this an all-wheel drive? No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. So there should be signals from both rear ones. On I'm not sure if these are magnetic sensors. I didn't see any signals here. Mind you, I didn't spin it very fast. It's hard to turn the wheel. Let's see what it did that time. Yeah, pretty slow response rate. But it's harder to turn the rear wheels with the brakes dragging. So we got a problem with the left front sensor. Let's have a look at it. So the reluctor is on the CV shaft outboard joint, as you can see there. You see the loom is kind of coming off the wiring harness here. No physical breaks in the wire that I can see. Wonder if there's a connector we can unplug to check continuity through the sensor. I'm not sure if this is a magnetic pulse generator or if it's digital. Chances are that sensor's not coming out of that cast knuckle that easy. Looking at the exhaust, it's been patched up many times. I get this custom hanger here. This is where the exhaust is leaking here by the looks of it. This flange is rusted out. But that shouldn't cause a catalyst efficiency code, because the catalytic converter is up here on the manifold. So there's the post-catalyst O2 sensor. But we're going to start it and confirm that there's no exhaust leaks at the catalytic converter. And then got to look at that vent or purge solenoid circuit. So the speed sensor wires go up through the strut tower and into the underhood area beside the airbox. You see that blue connector down there? Right down here, that is the speed sensor connector. So I'm going to unplug this and try and pull the harness through the wheel well so I can get at it. And then we'll do some resistance testing on it, assuming that it's magnetic pulse. So I got the connector out, and I got two test probes in there, and I got an ohm meter connected across it, and we're reading 14.5 ohms now. I'm assuming that it's a magnetic pulse generator, but it could be digital, being an 06. 05, 06 was about the year that the manufacturers started switching to two-wire digital sensors, which you cannot measure the resistance of. I'm going to see if there's service information in here in this Vantage Pro. Let's see if we can ID the vehicle. Component level testing. Xtrail 2.5, yes. ABS, wheel speed sensors, component information. Wheel speed sensors generate a digital signal sent to the ABS, so you can't measure the resistance. I suppose I could have compared it to the other side. Let's see what kind of tests it provides here. Frequency test, signature test, out of range, no signal test. If no signal is present, inspect the ABS wheel speed sensor wires for damage or loose connections. From the module to the sensor, correct as required. Check voltage output from the ABS module to the wheel speed sensor. Connect the test leads. Black to known good ground. Key on engine off. Voltage should be near battery system voltage. Do not disconnect any sensor with the ignition on, or ABS light will come on and ABS voltage output to the sensor must be shut down. Yeah, that's like most digital senses. If it detects an open circuit, it shuts down the voltage supply. Okay, well, we're going to try and get that connector through the wheel well here so that I can work on it a little bit more easy. I did have to take the air induction off to get at the connector. Okay, let's get going. I think I'm going to try another approach. The right front speed sensor connector is fairly accessible. So what I'm going to do is run the wires from this speed sensor with a long jumper wire over to the other side and vice versa, and see if it generates the other fault code. If I connect the right speed sensor to the left speed sensor to the right circuit, and now it sets a right circuit fault code, then I know it's the speed sensor that's defective. So ran 2 jumper wires across the vehicle to the other connector, which is fairly accessible here on the shock tower, maintaining the correct polarity so the black wire becomes red and it goes into the black wire on this side. Make sure these 2 pins don't touch each other. Now I'm going to turn the key on and we're going to scan it for codes. Well, this is glitchy as hell, and that's, I don't know if I got the polarity incorrect, but now we do have the code for the right hand speed sensor. Let's try clearing the codes. I tried to clear it in the ABS module and it wouldn't. So I'm doing a network code clear now. Some ABS codes do not clear until it goes through a self-check. And we got a green box now. DCM didn't clear the code for something. Oh yeah, I got the intake mass airflow sensor unplugged. Oh, I didn't want to go into the diagnostics. ABS. Enter. So I got the right speed sensor connected to the left circuit. So if I've got the polarity correct, let's read fault codes one more time. Front right hand speed sensor circuit. So why don't I have a left hand speed sensor circuit? Let's see, I got the right side sensor connected to the left harness. I'm getting confused. Read data. Let's see if we got a speed signal from it. Front left hand, front right hand. Okay. Graph. I could have the polarity mixed up because the wires are different colors on the harness side. Can I try switching? Oh, I do have a speed signal. So the front left hand now is connected to the front right hand sensor and it's produced. Why isn't it updating? I'm going to spin it again. Okay, well that's pretty conclusive. So we're using the speed signal from the right side connected to the left circuit and it reads it. But when we do the opposite, we don't get a signal. So it's the speed sensor and the knuckle that's failed. We'll see which one's worth. Well, surprisingly, they are available from standard motor products. Left and right are the same. Again, surprisingly, usually there's a left and a right different part number because of the angle. ALS 1753, I checked Napa. Napa doesn't have a source. Theirs is Eklund, I think, which I believe is the same thing. It's a little cheaper, but they don't have any in stock anywhere in the local distributors. These two are in Winnipeg, so we're going to get one, and I should have it here tomorrow. So there is a new speed sensor from Standard Motor Products. Came in overnight. Well, actually, it took the weekend. The challenge is going to be getting the old one out of the knuckle down here where this goes into the cast knuckle. So we're going to turn the steering. I got the tire off, obviously. I'm going to make sure that's the right one before I go this far. Come on, focus. So this is a female connector, and this is a male connector. There was a left and right, and I ordered the left. Got to double check the part number, but this is wrong for the application. So here is the listing in the parts catalog. 2006 Nissan Xtrail, 2.5 L4, left front wheel speed sensor, ALS 1753, which is what I have here. If I look at the smart page, the other one is actually the other right front is the same part number, ALS 1753. But if I look at the smart page and look at the images, that is a female connector. That's on the harness side. I don't want to start cutting and splicing wires. Well, I'm going to search around and see if I can find another listing, because this is obviously the wrong part, and it looks like what I've got here. You know, this is a Gazinta instead of a plug-in. So here is the Napa site. Front speed sensor left is an Eklund part number BSN 532211. Let's look at this one. It's more money, about $75 more. That looks wrong. Yeah, that's the other end of the connector. That's the same as the Standard Motor Products one. I'm not even sure if that's correct. I haven't taken it out yet. Suppose I can, but it certainly doesn't look correct. Yeah, the other end of the sensor is completely wrong as well. It's much bigger diameter than this, and it's a 90-degree instead of straight on like this. So there's a look at the sensor coming out of the wheel bearing retainer or the steering knuckle. It looks the same on the rear, and the parts does list the front and back being the same, but both Napa and Standard Motor Products list the same, and that goes all the way back from 03 to 2013. I always get worried when the box that it comes in is obviously been opened before. I don't think this is the first time that this box has been opened and somebody's realized the part's not right, and then they sent it back and they put it back in stock. Box is pretty beat up. Anyways, I'm going to do some more digging. You know, if I look at the buyer, like it lists the same one for the rear as well. Go to the smart page and the buyer's guide lists 7 models of Nissan, Rogue and Xtrail, 04 to 13. 04, 05, 06, 07 to 13. I'll try Rock Auto. So on the Rock Auto site, it lists left front as a Vimo V38720122, and the right front as 20110. Let's have a look at this. 05, 06 only it lists. Let's look at the picture. That is correct. So I'll try and cross this part number to standard and see if I can find it. That looks more like the sensor. Yes, that's a male connector instead of a female connector. Damn. Cheap enough, but week to 10 days to get it from Rock Auto. So crossing that in an interchange only comes up with Nissan OE part numbers, nothing standard or Napa. So I'm going to assume that they don't make it. I'm going to try one other supplier, and if that doesn't work, we're going to order it from Rock Auto. So we have to remove this 12mm headed bolt, and it's going to break off. I can tell by the pressure I was putting on it. So I'm going to use a magnetic resonance heater to heat this ear up. It might melt the sensor, but I really don't care. I just don't want to burn the boot, the CV boot right next to it. I sprayed it with penetrating fluid. These things are pretty handy. No open flame. The customer indicated he has a spare vehicle, and I told him, I'll see if I can get this one out. If I can, then you can try and take the used sensor out. Oh, beauty. Doesn't matter if he breaks the bolt off on the spare vehicle that he has, as long as he can get the sensor out without breaking it. Most of the time these sensors don't come out in this area because of all the salt use. I'm going to cool that off before I try and twist it out of there. So I cooled it off for some brake cleans. I can see the inboard part of the sensor. Let's spray some penetrating fluid on it. Got to reposition you. So let's try this. Oh, maybe we're going to get lucky. Yeah, because they were smart and they only put 4 ears on it. So I'll call him and tell him to see if he can salvage that speed sensor out of the other vehicle. Oh, fantastic.